I am Groot. Hey, welcome back to Dinner and a Show on the Road. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I'm Brian, and I just got out of watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, starring the likes of Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Kurt Russell, Sylvester Stallone, and many other talents. Yeah, I had a lot of fun at this movie. This is a great way to start off the summer blockbuster season. And basically, the Guardians of the Galaxy have to save the world again. Yeah, we kind of start out with them kind of doing a mission, doing their kind of crazy stuff, but Rocket kind of gets them in trouble by stealing from the very people that hired them, and so it ends up with the Guardians going on a random trip. Like, they end up on a planet that they have nothing about. They just needed somewhere to land, and they find a mysterious person over there whose name is Ego, and he claims to be Star-Lord's dad. What? It was in the trailer, so I mean, hey, not a big spoiler. So anyway, this is really cool. So Ego's trying to, connect with his son, and trying to be the father that he never was, and they're trying to figure out what the planet is and all that stuff. And then you have some other side stories, like, Rocket and Yondu trying to, work together. Nebula is back, and she's trying to get revenge on her sister. You have a lot of stuff like that. And, it's really cool to see those plots unfold. Sometimes a film can be very distracting if you have too many side plots, but I think they had enough, and they all came together at a good point so that it wouldn't be incredibly distracting. And it was really good. I liked the character interactions. This was a very much character development story rather than just a plain old action story. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of fun action to go around. The opening Guardian scene is, full-on action and comedy, the kind of comedy that we're looking for. Very reminiscent of the opening of when Chris Pratt was getting the Infinity Stone for Yondu. Very similar. It's like the opening scene, Groot is dancing to a song as the Guardians are fighting this weird squid monster. Really, it was really funny and really reminiscent of that. So you have those fun action scenes, but really you have a lot of, I would say there's more development. I've heard people say that there wasn't as much development and that people were just kind of, doing the same, and I was like, no, why? I don't know how they thought of that, because, Rocket seems to become more developed and, tries to get past, feelings that he's masking or trying to cover up. Just everyone has, their issues that they're trying to overcome. And I think that the movie portrayed that very well. I mean, probably the most prominent ones would be Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, trying to, come to terms that his dad, is finally, here, and he's trying to wonder, well, where the heck has he been? Because his mom died, and he wasn't there for her. He had no idea why he left, and then Ego tries to tell him, since why, and I don't really want to spoil a whole lot for you, but there's a pretty big there's a pretty big reason why for that. Also, I think there was a lot of character development for our crew, but I think that might have also been a weakness because the dialogue was, it was fine. There was a lot of funny jokes in there, but when they tried, when they got to the character development part, it was very, it's just kind of like they were telling us what we should feel. So, like Rocket's backstory or Rocket's, reasoning for his behavior, that seemed like a very forced thing to say. Nebula and Gordana, they kind of have their moment where they, are hashing it out while they're fighting. So there are just things like that I was like, I kind of seen this before. Is there another way to just, explain your hurts without doing, just without, making it sound forced? Is there another way to express someone's feelings without, that, without it looking clumsy in the screenwriting? I'm not sure. Haven't written a lot of scripts before, so I can only imagine how hard it would be. But that was just something that that was distracting for me. It's like, oh yeah, okay, we're going this route in the development of a character. But yeah, the fights were creative. The climax, definitely a lot of fighting there, and there was a really fun action sequence there. The soundtrack, I don't think it was as good as the first one. I loved the soundtrack for the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but this one was really cool. The one that stood out to me was they do play Chain. Excuse me. They do play Chain by Fleetwood, and so I was happy about that. I was like, yes. Because that was the one song that stood out to me, in all the advertisements and stuff. It was kind of like their version of Blue. Oh wow, Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Suede. And that was the flagship song for the first Guardians of the Galaxy. What else was there? I think the editing was just fine. Nothing, really jarring. I think I was able to understand the story completely. I don't think that the story dragged a bit, despite the character development that was happening. And usually when you do a character development story instead of an action story, the pace tends to lag, and that can be a problem. However, in this case, I don't think it was a huge issue. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was cool. The humor, yeah. There were tons of humor in there. I was laughing all the way. It was wonderful. A lot of great jokes. So, and some people may complain or it may criticize that there's too much humor and that it's focusing away from the characters and it's focusing away from the story. And James Gunn is the director is just kind of like putting in so many jokes to distract, from, the screenwriting or anything like that. I say, no. There are some points where the humor got in the way of heartfelt moments. I'll say that. Because there are some heartfelt moments in there. But luckily, it was just quick and, painless and not incredibly distracting. But, you will notice it. Also, I'm trying to... Oh, yeah. Stay till the end of the movie. It's a Marvel movie. You guys should all know that by now. There are 2 mid-credit scenes, and then there is 1 after-credit scene. So, you have been warned. If you don't stay, then you may have no idea of what's going on. for the other movies that are coming out. The trailers that came out were pretty cool. I think the ones that stood out to me were the superhero ones. They had The Last Jedi up there. They had Spider-Man Homecoming, which is a Sony/Marvel Studios collaboration. They had Wonder Woman up there. And I'm really cheering for that movie. I really hope it does well because DC needs a hit. They need a hit to save their franchise. And Thor Ragnarok, which is Marvel Studios' next movie, which comes out in November. So thought the advertising was appropriate and smart for Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, I think that's what I can give it. I had a fun time watching it. I'm going to give it a high five, a pretty good high five. I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of laughs. I think what bothered me a little bit was the screenwriting and dialogue, and how just exposition and just getting the plot across in a weird dialogue way, like just how characters were talking. It just distracted me a little bit. And yeah, I just think that was the one thing that appeared too much in the film for me, to keep it from like me giving it a secret handshake and me thoroughly enjoying it. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Go watch the movie. It's a lot of fun. Great start to the Blockbuster season. And if you happen to go to certain theaters, you will get a I Am Groot shirt. You can't really see it. Oh, there it is. I Am Groot. It's so much fun. All right, guys. I'll let you go. Have a good night. I Am Groot.